Joshua chapter 1, verse 1 signals the new generation. Moses. I just love this because it's kind of got a TV headline, news headline quality about it. Moses, my servant, is dead. Senior Pastor Moses, age 120, pastor of the world's largest church ever, died today, aged 120. Laurie Oates, Cameron. Joshua is now the senior pastor of this large congregation, and from the negative situation of Moses' committee, whose report cost the congregation 45 years, we're told in Joshua 14:10, Joshua learned some important issues. And that's the thing. See, most of us learn life's lessons by making mistakes. Right? I want to learn life's lessons by watching somebody else make those mistakes so I never have to make them. Joshua watched this and said, "Phew, I think I can do better than that." So he learned these important lessons. Lesson number 1. Choose very carefully those whom you will send out to do the exploratory work on your behalf. Choose them very carefully. Jesus prayed all night before he appointed anyone. Then he appointed 12. And guess what happened of the 12? One's name was Judas. And he was left hanging around. He didn't make the grade. Choose very carefully those whom you will send out to do the exploratory work on your behalf. Number 2, choose a very small group rather than a large group. Joshua chose 2 men. Number 3, send them out quietly to do the exploratory work. Joshua 2:2, Joshua secretly sent 2 spies out. Send them out quietly. Number 4, this small task force would report back to Joshua, not the whole crowd, who would process the information they brought back before it had wider publication. Joshua 2:23-24. They came to Joshua and said to Joshua, and they told him the whole stuff, all the beans, so this is what's going on. And here's what I find interesting. See, that's a principle. This quietly thing, a small group quietly, it's a principle. We find hundreds of years later, Nehemiah is back in town to rebuild the wall around Jerusalem. And we read this about Nehemiah, chapter 2, verse 12. He says, I set out during the night, just quietly, with a few others, not a whole gang. I had not told anyone. See the principle here? What my God had put in my heart to do for Jerusalem. So do your planning. If you're thinking about a business endeavour, a ministry endeavour, a personal domestic endeavour, don't share it with the whole crowd yet. Just a small group. Do it quietly. Do it quietly before you go public. That's a principle. Now here's an interesting thing about the approach of Moses' committee and the differing approach of Joshua's hand-picked small task force. Moses' committee, I think it's fairly typical, and so that's why you've got to be careful who you choose. Moses' committee looked for grapes. First thing they did was look for things, look for food. That's what they did. Numbers 13:23, they cut off a branch bearing a single cluster of grapes, and 2 of them carried it on a pole between them. Now you think about it, 2 guys carrying one cluster of grapes on a pole, they're big grapes. And that's their trophy to bring back, these big grapes. But what they did with that, they said big grapes means big people. There surely will be giants, and we are surely grasshoppers, so the grapes turned into sour grapes. That's the first thing they had to look for grapes. Whereas Joshua's small task force of 2 people, they weren't looking for grapes, they weren't looking for things, they were looking for people. They didn't engage with grapes, they made people connections. And as the story unfolds, Joshua's task force were men of faith. They knew they were going to take Jericho. It wasn't a matter of if at all. Their question was, how are we going to do it? God said we're going to get it, but he hasn't told us how because he wants us to work that out. So folks, we will take this city for God.
Amen.
We will take this city for God. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how we're going to do it. So don't pray, God bless what I'm doing. You might be doing the wrong things. Rather pray, God help me to do what you're blessing. The God train is leaving the station. to get on board. We pray, God, bless what I'm doing. Well, stop that. God, help me to find out what you're blessing and to do those things. So Joshua's two guys were not looking to bring back grapes and trophies. They went out to meet with key people. It's a principle. You want to take the city, whether you're in business, ministry, church, whatever, you need to meet the key people of the city. And so that's what they do. Now, this is interesting, because granted, where they went wasn't the local coffee shop. This wasn't Jamaica Blue. This wasn't Coles Supermarket. This wasn't the Chamber of Commerce. In fact, as I get into this, I have no good explanation as to why they ended up in Rahab's house at all, really, except that she was a woman of faith, as it all unfolds. But at least I didn't know that. So because we read Joshua 2:1, and so they went and entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab and stayed there. Now I'm not saying, guys, some of you look for ministry opportunity or business opportunity. Don't go to the local brothel to get it all set up. I'm not saying that. You never heard me say that here. I'm not saying that. But you do need to meet with people who are willing to support you and help you, give you perspective and give you some keys. So I was in Rockingham City Shopping Centre yesterday about 4:30, waiting for my wife. She was having her nails done. They look very nice, Lara. And so I went and bought myself one of those juice drinks, the Energizer one, but I had a busy day. I thought they'd pep me up. So I sat on the bench outside the nails place, and Mark McGowan came and slid in. I often see him around there, right near the nails place. I think he goes for a massage in the one next door there. And, he slid in, sat next to me on the seat, said, "Gordon, this is Gary Gray." He slid on the other side of me, and there I was. I had the state Labor guy on one side and the federal guy on the other side of me. And Mark said, "Gary, you know Gordon?" He said, "Yeah, well, I met him at City of Rockingham. Lara and I went to a function there maybe a month ago. Met him there." And he said, "Yes." And Mark's talking this church up. And he said, "Well, Gordon's the pastor of one of the largest churches in the Rockingham area. You need to get to know Gordon." He's sort of setting up that I'm the key person he needs to get to know. But Gary's thinking that he's the key person that I need to get to know. He said, "Gordon," and he shook my hand with an election-winning handshake. He said, "Gordon, I'll do for you whatever I can. If you need anything, you call me." Well, I just had an email last week from Donna Gordon, the Liberal, and she said the same to me. In fact, the Christian Democrats are not offering us anything. They want help from us, but we're going. Here's my point. You need to connect with people. You need to connect with people. And you can say what you like about this prostitute, Rahab, but thousands of years later, today, we are still reading positive things about this woman of faith. James, the brother of Jesus, wrote about her. He said, James 2:25, "In the same way was not even Rahab the prostitute considered righteous for what she did when she gave lodging to the spies and sent them off in a different direction." Hebrews 11:31, "By faith the prostitute Rahab, because she worked with the spies, were not killed with those who were disobedient." She was a woman of faith. She was a woman of faith. And she aligned herself with God's people and God's plans and God's purposes. She aligned herself by faith. And so whatever you may think about the house of ill repute where Rahab the prostitute was, this was a strategic person for Joshua's guys to be meeting with.